This video covers everything we did in class today on Thursday, February 24th. The first thing you need to do is open up the Classkick above this video and complete the Do Now. So please pause the video and complete the Do Now in Classkick. For this week's foundational learning target, we've been practicing the distributive property. With the distributive property, we know that we can multiply the number on the outside of our parentheses times both terms on the inside of our parentheses. For example, 5 times 10 plus 3 is equal to 5 times 10 plus 5 times 3. Then I can complete both my multiplication sentences, 50 plus 15, for a final answer of 65. When I'm working with variables, like in question 3, this works the same way. I know that I'm multiplying 3 times x, which is 3x, minus 3 times y, which is 3y. I can simply put 3x and 3y to show that I'm multiplying 3 times x and 3 times y. Make sure that you've tried all 5 problems here. You can check your answers by opening up the notes in today's notes, which are posted in today's folder in Schoology. So right underneath the Thursday folder before you get into async work. Today's learning target is I can use a tape diagram to represent a situation, and I can find an unknown value in a tape diagram. In this video, and for the makeup work, we're going to focus on activity 4.2 and eventually activity 4.3. So meet me on slide 3 of Classkick. Slide 3 of Classkick says draw a tape diagram to represent each situation. For some of the situations, you need to decide what to represent with a variable. 1. Diego has 7 packs of markers. Each pack has X markers in it. After Lynn gives him 9 more markers, he has a total of 30 markers. First, remember that all of our tape diagrams start with one large box. You can see I had a little bit of trouble drawing it the first time, and so accuracy and neatness isn't all that important so long as you can draw me a long vertical box. I know that in this situation, I have a total of 30 markers, which means that my box in total is going to be 30 long. If you're struggling to draw, remember you can always use the straight line tool here and the text tool here. Now, I know that Diego has 7 packs of markers with X markers in it, which means I'm going to need 7 boxes to represent those 7 packs with X markers. He also has one group of 9 markers, and so I'll need an 8th box to represent those 9 markers. So I have X markers, and I have 7 groups of X because it says Diego has 7 packs of markers when each has X. So I'm going to keep counting up until I have 7 groups of X plus that group of 9 for a total of 30 markers. And that's my tape diagram. Let's do one more together. Elena's cutting a 30-foot piece of ribbon for a craft project. She cuts off 7 feet and then cuts the remaining piece into 9 equal lengths of X feet each. Let's start with that long vertical box. I know that in total, Elena has 30 feet of ribbon. It then says that she cuts off 7 feet. So I'll make my first group 7 feet. I got that in my drawing. After she cuts off 7 feet, she cuts the remaining piece into 9 equal lengths of X feet each. That means that I'm going to need 9 groups. And each of these groups is going to represent X feet. And that's my tape diagram. On slide 4, you have 3 more examples that I'll ask you to complete on your own. You can pause this video to do slide 4 now. As always, you can check the notes from today's classwork to see whether your work is correct. Our final step today is 4.3. Each situation in the previous activity is represented by one of the equations. Match each situation to an equation. We're not going to worry too much about question 2 today. We're just going to focus on matching each situation to an equation. If you go back to slide 3, let's look at 1 first. In question 1, I know that I am adding a bunch of boxes for a total of 30. One thing that I'm adding to get 30 is 9. I can see that box of 9 right here. In addition to my 9, I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 x's. And so I know that the equation that matches is 7x plus 9 equals 30. I wrote my equation right next to the tape diagram, and that's how I want you to work on 4.3. This was one of the options. You will use the equations more than once. Next to each of the questions on slide 3 and 4, you should write the equation that matches the tape diagram. Once you finish doing that, you're finished with today's classwork. There's a lesson summary here that will just go over everything we talked about in this video. The only other thing you need to worry about is this week's homework, which is due to me tomorrow in Delta Math. As always, if you have any questions, make sure to send me an email.